Hi, I'm Dr. Matthew Norton, the founder of People Plus Purpose, and this is the Truth Behind Dentistry podcast. And today I'm excited to have as my guest Dr. Anissa Holmes. Dr. Holmes is the founder of Delivering Wow Dental Education, where she and her team help dental practices grow through team transformation, leadership, effective case presentation, schedule and systems optimization, and high return marketing implementation. She's also the co-founder of both the Digital Floss marketing agency and Dental Flicks, a platform for top-level training for independent and group practices. Dr. Holmes is also a leading expert in EBITDA growth and holds a fellowship with the Dental Speaking Institute. Welcome to the podcast, Doctor.
Thank you so much for having me, Matthew.
Absolutely. It is my pleasure. Been looking forward to our conversation. You're doing a lot of different things. I mean, you practiced dentistry for many years, including, I know, a significant number in Jamaica. And since 2016, you've been actively developing a variety of other contributions to the dental field. So I'm curious, a little bit about your driving inspiration behind all this and what you're loving most about all the things that you're doing.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing. My story really did start as a practicing dentist, right? Practicing dentistry for 20 years. And after around maybe 15 or 16 years, I had a mentor, I had a coach, and we did some pretty remarkable things during our journey together. And the practice grew, we created incredible culture, and we're just serving the community so hard. And she asked me, she said, what's next for you? And I'm like, I'm going to go do more dentistry. And she's like, what's your legacy going to be? And so I really sat in it for a bit and I was like, well, I'm going to write a book, right? And then I wrote a book to share the journey of how we were able to accomplish tripling production in a year and developing a team where the team was able to really take care of their families. And that led me to start my podcast. I was actually the first female dentist podcaster in our industry years ago. And it just led to one thing to the other. And the reality is that it was never something that I intended to do, right? Like it was just me helping practices to grow. And then they're like, I want you to teach me marketing. Can you teach me, and it's just led one thing to the other. And I truly believe that my purpose, if you talk about is in my assignment, honestly, it's not even about helping people with marketing, although I own a marketing agency now to help
Right.
practices or
Right.
coaching or consulting. Like it's really not about any of that stuff. Like my real assignment, my real purpose is really helping people to see their potential and helping to, as I'm a seer, right? That's my gift, is to see things in people and to help them believe in themselves and to help them get what they really want. And for me, what that means is some people say, I want to make a business that's going to make $5 million and have 5 locations, because for them, what they crave most is proving to themselves that they can do something like that. And so when they do that, then now they feel loved. Or I want to be able to have a practice where I can make more money. And the reason why is because they want to make their spouse proud, or they want to make more money for being able to put their kids in better schools because they want their kids to love them, right? And so for me, the things that we do, again, why are we helping people with marketing? Because we're there, really there as a partner with them to be able to grow their business. And so to me, like that's my purpose, that's my why. Like it's using dentistry as a vehicle because that's what I know really well to actually help people get what they really want, right? Which is more love, more happiness, more joy, feeling that significance. So really, that's really what it's all about.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
I do agree with you that sometimes the specifics are just kind of the avenue by which we connect with people. And I think in those relationships, if we're really focused on contribution, that it just provides the way to connect, to go deeper, if that's where how you're inclined to go, and to be able to help people have the breakthroughs that they need. And thank God for coaches, right? I mean, I can look back at my career and think about, I don't know without the coach that I had for quite a number of years, if I would have ever gotten to the place where I was really felt like I tapped into my potential and was fulfilled in my career. And similarly, I've got a kind of a similar parallel path about practice years and then never really feeling like I was stopped having joy in the immediacy of serving patients, but I just felt like there were other things in me. And it was a similar thing. Like my plan was to kind of continue more of the same when asked. But then upon further asking, was like, no, there are other things that are important. And so that's great. I love that. So of the things that you are doing, and so it's like, yeah, you don't necessarily love marketing. I get the sense that that's not your deepest passion, although you're good at it. Your company is good at it, right? But so what do you actually like when you think of the things that are making up your day? What are you loving the most right now?
So I do love marketing.
Okay, okay. Correct me on that. Yeah.
I absolutely love marketing. I love the strategy behind it. I spent 7 years working alongside Russell Brunson, developing the brick and mortar funnel framework. Um, I I've been an expert secret, so I've spoken at Funnel Hacking Live. Like I absolutely love marketing.
Mhm.
But for me personally, I love the work that I do. I love the fact that I can take my skills and help develop businesses and people. That drives me. I'm definitely a strategist on the professional side. I also own DentalFlix, which is an online education platform, and I love that because it is a platform that not only provides hundreds of hours of CE for dental practices, but it also allows dental speakers and coaches and consultants to be able to have a platform to be able to get developed or discovered by meeting planners and like all of the things. For me, it's like my drives me is me. Like, why are you doing this? Right? Like, what's your drive? Right? Why? And for me, it's more of the ability to, again, at the end of my life, look back and say, how did I leave that legacy? Right? Like, how did I leave the industry better than where I found it? Because the things that we do in our marketing agency is not happening in any other agency, right? Like we're doing done for you social media content on all platforms. We are running funnels. We're calling and pre-qualifying patients for financing. Like it's all integrated in with social media and paid ads. It doesn't exist other than our agency. And
Mhm.
so like that's legacy, or what we're doing with DentalFlix, or helping practices grow their EBITDA by $500,000 in less than a year, right? Like, or maybe even more, right? So for me, it is legacy. It's like the people that come to me and say, thank you so much, like you changed my life, right? That's my big why on the professional side. On a personal side, I personally enjoy meditation. I enjoy yoga. That's something that's really important to me. I'm literally coming off of a 7-day retreat in Costa Rica with my daughter. And so understanding that, I'm living my life as I'm living. I'm not waiting until I'm, you know, not able to enjoy my life. And so I'm living as I'm living, right?
Mhm.
So, and that's something that I'm really proud of as well.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
congratulations for achieving that. I think that's great. I was going to ask you next, just in terms of what are some of the unique elements of your business offerings. You mentioned several of those things right there. Maybe you could elaborate a little bit more on in any of the business
Yeah.
pieces that you're working on. What's setting you apart? What is it that why should people go with what you're doing?
Yeah. And the reality is that for me, um, what's been really fun of the work that I've done, and I do own, I mean, I have a dental practice, right? I've got a coaching consulting company. We grow EBITDA in practices. We train the teams. I've got DentalFlix, which again is a place where you can go and get education and learn and leadership and case acceptance and marketing, and it's connected with scorecards and data. So data tells you what you need
Mhm.
to train on. That's very unique in of itself, right? Being
Mhm.
able to have performance scorecards, and it tells you, if you don't hit this goal 3 weeks in a row, this is what you train on. And by the
Mhm.
way, here's the training, right? And
Right.
and these are at the top, getting the top speakers in the industry to all go and put courses in there. So you've got the experts that are saying you're not hitting case acceptance. These are the top experts. This is where you can learn, and it's all in one platform with unlimited CE. So for me, it's like building things that just literally don't exist. And
Mhm.
so I really love being an Imagineer. I love being a creator. I love being able to, again, in my marketing agency, say, we're not just going to do Google ads, or we're just not going to schedule out social media posts, but it has to have like, what is good marketing, and really developing, again, the processes and the teams to be able to really over deliver, surprise and delight, do more with than what our doctors and practices are expecting. And so, that's, that I think what sets us apart. It's like, you could be in a sea of people doing the same, or you could just decide to really innovate and do things that have never been done before. And at that point, it's not like I'm trying to sell anybody anything,
Right.
right? Like this is how we help. And if you're looking for that solution, we've created it for you, right? Which is really exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. So this is the Truth Behind Dentistry podcast.
Yes.
So I like to invite people to kind of share any particular truth about dentistry. Maybe sometimes there's a myth to dispel. Sometimes there's, what is it that that you've realized that maybe others haven't, which is maybe what's driven you to create unique offerings. But what is it about? What is a truth about dentistry that you might want to share that people would often not see?
Yeah. So I think the reality is that no one can ever do anything alone. No one can ever do anything alone, right? And I went, 12, 13 years thinking that if I just read another book, if I just went to another CE, that all of a sudden I would be successful, or, I'd make money. Like our parents tell us, just go to school, you'll be successful, or like work harder. And what I discovered finally is that hard work really doesn't work. It just makes you tired, right? And so if you want to hit impossible goals, as Dr. Benjamin Hardy says, in his book, The Science Behind Rapid Transformation, it's not about doing more. It's about thinking, instead of it happening in a year, if I wanted to hit that goal in 3 months, it would have to be so.
Right.
Right. And what do I need to stop doing? And why do I not have it right now? It's because I don't have this knowledge. I'm not doing this thing.
Right.
Right. And so we just focus on that. And so for me, that's the biggest thing. It's like the who, not the how. Again, like if you know that I had a doctor this morning I spoke to, and he's incredible at all on fours, and he's got the capacity,
Right.
and he's like, but I just need more opportunities. Right. And so it's like, who, not the how. So the only way you're going to get that, I'm like, so, and he sat in on my lecture when I had, or Dr. Hardy was actually at my last conference in June. And I said, you heard Dr. Hardy, like what's not available to you right now. And that's why you will never have it. And he's like, I've got to get more leads. And I'm like, all right, great. Who's the who? Right. And we're obviously talking about my agency, Digital Floss. Right. But it could be that. It could be, you know what? I don't have time for it. I'm exhausted. Okay. Well, how do you get around that? You've got to have a manager running your practice for you so that you can be the visionary and they actually are implementing. Right. And in our coaching company, we train managers to be COOs of companies, which is what my manager does, which is why I'm on this podcast right now, because she's running my practice. Right. And so like, who's the person who can do that? You're going to need a manager. And stop trying to do everything yourself, right? Like, and if you don't know how to train your manager, then find a who. It could be, again, our coaching program. It could be another who. Like, it doesn't, I'm like not here to convince you it's me, but like find the who that can help you. Like, don't do everything alone, because all it does is make you tired, exhausted, and makes you not grow. Because it's like when we start trying to do new things and we get tired, we just go back to what we were doing before because we're exhausted. And so that's the only way that we can really break through to the next level. That's what I've learned. And it's really served me well, really sharing and guiding and speaking to colleagues about this and really seeing them make that change.
Yeah, I think that was well stated and good answer to my question. I think that is a powerful truth for everybody in professional small business. I think that's a common dilemma, not learning business very well in school, but also not learning how to be a leader of people. And then suddenly there's a bunch of people there. So how are you going to get better at those things? Where are those weak links in the process? And I think the siloing, in individual practice is not helpful. So I think that you're right in the sense of who do we need? Who has those answers that we can't see, that we can't figure out? And also, I was just finished reading not too long ago the X is Easier Than 2X book as well. So, or different book of Hardy's, um, or partly Hardy, right? Partly Dan Sullivan. But yeah, I think that's the challenge with how to scale, right? The tendency is I've got to do more, and that place of having to come to what am I uniquely best at? What are my skills? What does the business need me to do? And I feel like we need to keep asking that. So, I mean, I'm older than you, but I continue to keep asking myself those next phase questions because I want to be making the best use of my time until the end as well. So what about your education model? What is it about your approach that makes that easier for the dentist and maybe for the team also to get the training and
Yeah.
support that they need?
Yeah. So I had a phenomenal coach, right? And I was her only dental client. It was actually, I started with Action Coach and I winded up tripling my revenue that first year. And I winded up becoming actually globally for Action Coach, finalist for Female Entrepreneur of the Year.
Hmm.
Okay. So that's what led my coach saying, "What's next for you?" It was beautiful. But the challenge with it is that she was just training me, right? So she would teach me how to understand profit margins and reverse engineering numbers and creating strategy around how do I hit the number and like all of the things and processes. But no one was there to train my team on scheduling and insurance and marketing and all of those things. I had to really just try to figure all of that out. And then she coached me and then I coached my team. And so as we started to develop our program, I started out that way as well. And then finally, I'm like, I really need to develop, like, we've got to take everything off of the doctor's
Mhm.
plates. And so we winded up creating an approach where I'm working with the doctors on, again, reverse engineering numbers and strategy. If you want to grow by $1 million, let's reverse engineer it, and we can do that. But at the same time, we started really bringing in other coaches as well, the industry leaders, right? So Sandy Pardue to train on scheduling, or Shireen Washington on case acceptance. Katrina Sanders is one of the top speakers in hygiene. So she trains our hygienists every single month, right? So now every member of the team, dental assistants, insurance coordinators, they each have their own coach. And so we're coaching each individual member of the team. The other thing that makes it very different and unique is we're also helping with marketing. And it's really about understanding how do we scale and bring in leverage. And so we've got some really unique frameworks, some that I've developed with whiteboards and scorecards, some that were adopted from EOS. Part of my training throughout the years is I actually became a professional EOS implementer. And so EOS implementers, some of you guys have heard the book Traction, but it's really about companies scaling from 1 to 5 to 10 to 100 million. And there's processes for that. I wound up actually giving it back when they found out that I had my own frameworks and we're doing a lot of other unique things. I winded up no longer, because I had to be pure, just teaching
Right,
their
right,
processes,
right.
right? But there's a lot of frameworks that we use. And so it's not just let me just fly in and like fix this one problem. It's literally a curriculum. We're focusing on culture. We're focusing on core values, marketing. And so it's a very holistic approach while training, again, the managers to run the company as COO. And so it's literally like docs come in. We're going to work with you to learn how to run your company, but we're also going to help hold the hand of your team. We've got fractional office managers. So every practice has an office manager. That's one of our team members that's working with them. We also have a virtual assistant coach. So many people are now getting into virtual assistants. And we're training our virtual assistants, which is pretty cool. They're getting in virtual assistants and we're training them on how to every single week fill out the scorecards for the practice, or how to be able to document and save, reports in a Google Drive for the accountant and CPA, right? So we're training their VAs, which is really, really cool as well. So again, just really thinking out of the box and like, if I'm a practice owner, which I am, right?
Right.
What would be amazing for somebody, what would I want somebody to do for me, right?
Yeah.
And then literally just creating it, right? And so it's been really exciting to be able to do that. And again, having in-person events, we brought Ben Hardy in at our last event that we had, helping him to train practices and teams. I mean, imagine that, right?
Yeah.
So in-person opportunities. So yeah, I mean, that's what we're doing with Delivering Well Education, which is our coaching program. And again, just doing beautiful work, right? To just help people to really be able to be happy and build the practice that they dreamed of. Like
Yeah.
when you said, I want to be a dentist, like this is what it's going to look like, and actually helping people to get that, which is, it's been really beautiful.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
I love the fact that you are applying that coaching, uh, that high value coaching across all of these positions too,
Yeah.
and all these. So you've got specialist coaches. I think that that's not common.
No, no. A lot of people fly in, I'll get a consultant, they'll fly in, and it's great. And we do that as well. I mean, some practices want us to fly in and we spend 2 days and we observe, and then we go in and we make corrections and, and that's fine. But that's just fixing the one thing that we see that day, right? Instead, what we want frameworks, right? Like, what's the process that if you do this, you're going to, and you've got to have forced accountability. So those are like the whiteboards. Let's set
Right.
goals, and if we hit it, 2 months in a row, then we increase the goal. If we don't, we're going to talk about it in a weekly meeting, and we're going to identify, is it clinical communication or cash competency, right? And so we go through this like workflow and checklist, and so there's a lot of predictability to growth, which is really great.
Excellent.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I've got one more question for you. And this could be kind of what you're continuing to experience with other doctors, especially in solo practices.
Yeah.
But even as you look back at earlier on in your career, when you were maybe trying to do too much yourself, maybe didn't know what was next help wise or what needed to shift,
Yeah.
what are maybe one or two key elements to look at for those doctors that are thinking, okay, I am tired. I acknowledge you're probably right. I'm doing too much, but where do I start? What would be a common next step or two for a lot of the doctors where you see them being stuck to be able to get out of that stuck place, to be able to grow, to scale, to have more time freedom, any of those things? What do you think is often next?
Yeah. I think a lot of times people just need to feel that the person that they're going to for help has really got them. Okay. So people come to me and they say, I know I need a coach. I want a coach. I'd like to have a coach. But number one, like, I don't have time for this because I'm already exhausted. Right. So it's number one that somebody's like, I'll take the lifting for you. Like, I'll carry your load for you. Do you want it? I'll carry your load for you. And then also just, again, just trusting that that person can really do what they say. I've had a lot of people come to me and say, I've hired a marketing agency, I've hired a coach, and I didn't get what I expected. And so I'm scared.
Mhm.
I don't want to waste my money. I don't want to waste my time. I don't want to look like a failure to my team.
Right.
Right? Like that's a lot of the real truth of
Mhm.
why people don't move forward too, right? And so I will always say, you know what, I've hired the wrong coach. I've hired marketing agencies that didn't work, right? Like, but what it did allow me to do is to get insight into, okay, what questions do I need to ask the next time? Or, again, for a coach, number one, have they done the thing that I want them to do? Some people say, well, I'm having a case acceptance problem, but they're hiring a coach that is a coach for scheduling. Well, that's never going to solve that problem.
Right, right, right.
Right. And so, have they done the thing that you actually want to do? Number two, do they have frameworks to teach that process? And then three, what are their clients saying? Right. And so to me, that's like, how do we choose to coach? And the reality is that, like, being down is okay. Like feeling tired and exhausted and feeling like your numbers are down is really actually okay, because
Mhm.
the rainbow only comes after the storm. And so when we feel the pain and the frustration and the exhaustion, oftentimes that leads us to go and ask for help. And if we were just kind of doing okay, we would have never got the help that brings out the rainbow. And so we've got to actually go down to go up. And so in that, we find the marketing agency, or we find the training program, or we find the mentor that we need, or the coach that we need, or the person to help us with our mental health or whatever. And that provides the next breakthrough. And so I think that it's just being okay with where you are right now and understanding that that's now giving you the sign. The universe is giving you a sign now to just open up your mouth and say, who can be my next who to help me?
Mhm.
Right. And when we do that, we're able to experience that breakthrough.
Yeah. Even if we don't even know what that next thing is, because we
Right.
can't see it clearly, somebody else can often help us see what we can't yet see.
And
So,
that's the power of a incredible mentor. It's interesting, like as my own personal gift, I've always been able to see things. That's my gift, right?
mhm,
Like I can see things in people I've before they can see it in themselves.
mhm,
Right. Some people have they feel people's energy. Like for
mhm,
me, I feel, but I really see. And
mhm,
so when I, recently just reflecting, like, why am I a coach? Why am I a consultant? Is because like I can see things that people can't even see in themselves and I believe in them. And then we give them the path and they just walk the path and they accomplish it. Right. And so, again, you find the right mentor. Many people who are coaches were seers. And that's what led us actually into the work that we're doing.
mhm.
It's just a natural work there. So yeah, I mean, that's what I would say um, of how we can really get there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for your time. I really appreciated spending time with you and discussing these, I think, topics for people. I mean, because you're right. I mean, it's the working hard and continuing to work hard just is unlikely to get us where we want to go. Or it makes me think about we climb with diligence the ladder to get to the top and then realize it was on the wrong wall, right? So people say, I will work hard and I will get there. Well, you'll get somewhere, but it may not be exactly where you wanted to get, right? And I just want to honor you too and recognize all that you have done, your persistence. I mean, obviously it was mentoring help, but it was your persistence to be able to keep growing and getting to what you've created right now. So I just want to recognize that.
Thank you.
Yeah. So for those who are saying, well, this was great, I would love to know more. What's the best way for people to get in touch with you and learn more?
Yeah. So I guess it just depends on what you need help with, right?
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
our agency is Digital Floss, right? Dental Flix is online streaming education. And if you're looking for deeper mentorship, that would be deliveringwell.com. Yeah,
It's great. Between those things, I think you might have it covered, huh?
you might have it covered.
There's probably something more coming, given my
No, that
given
I'm
my
actually
stint.
as I'm getting older, right? I'm actually like reducing. I'm reducing, right? But
Fair,
it's all beautiful work.
fair enough. Yeah. Well, thank you very much for your time and continue to wish you well and look forward to speaking again at some point in the future, hopefully.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Take care.
Absolutely. So thanks everybody for being with us. This is the Truth Behind Dentistry podcast with Dr. Anissa Holmes. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. And we look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Thank you.